Warning, side effects of reading these books may include never taking anyone's bullshit ever again. If you've been watching what's going on in the US in horror, as the rest of us have, or if, like me, you have drifted off into the batshit crazy part of TikTok, which made you need to take a few weeks off because you were just like, yeah, that's where I'm fucking at. If, like me, you're also kind of sad that the rapture didn't actually happen, it's just so that we could clear this place out of these people. If you've also ever been told to submit, which is a whole other part of TikTok, that your worth is tied to you being married or how many babies you can make under his eye. Or if you've just been called a bitch by a guy who just isn't smart enough to argue with you without it devolving into a religious ceremony of some kind. Congratulations, you're in the right place. Our government's trying its best to time travel back to the worst parts of 1855. I feel like the women in the audience here may need a fucking refresher. So each day this week, I'm going to present you with a new feminist forward book that I think every woman should read. Gentlemen, you are invited to this party, but if you're thinking about giving a negative comment, you should probably keep your mouth shut. If you know it's good for you. You know, if you're one of those guys that's like, oh, I hate feminists so much, you're going to want to just go watch a video on how to be an alpha or something. Man, no matter how bad your life is, just remember there's a guy out there who's about to watch a video on YouTube on how to be an alpha. It doesn't get worse than that. Oh, God. Seriously, just feel secure in the fact that you are not that pathetic. I'm going to be offering here today the top 10 feminist books that every woman should read. And guys, you can read them too. I know you're not going to. Every woman should read at least half of these books. If you haven't read half of these books, then you need to go and get fucking these books. I'm going to put links in the description of this video. And I'm not somebody who usually pimps stuff out, but I'm going to put a link there for every book so that you can buy every book that I'm listing. Please use my link because I get like a penny every single time you do. And if you don't have these books, I'm telling you, you need to read them for no other reason than to prepare yourself for Gilead. But if you do find this video, please, even if you don't buy them, you don't have to. I'm not telling you you have to buy them, but please go to a library and at least read one or two of them. I'm going to tell you a couple that I think I think every woman should have. It should be required fucking reading for every woman in school. It should be a required reading in high school for some people. I think men and women alike. But I hope that some of you find this list enlightening. All right, so today we're starting with Vox. Vox is one of the few novels on this list that I'm including that is fiction. I included it because I feel like everyone always points to The Handmaid's Tale, which is Margaret Atwood's book, is great, don't get me wrong, but I feel like this day and age, as much as I want to promote the book, I feel like you guys got to watch the series. I think the series is really visceral and they do such a great job with it. I feel like they should just offer that show for free, especially now. I feel like the producers should just say, we're going to offer this on our network channel for free for everyone to watch, because it should be something that everyone is watching, because it is fucking crazy how close that is to where we're at. It feels like a little bit, I'm not trying to be dramatic, but it is scary how many things that you see happening on that show, that it's the apathy. The apathy really leads to everything. And it's important. I feel like it's such an important show to watch. And if you want to read the book is amazing as well. But this is very similar. This kind of has a similar storyline. This one is a little more infuriating, though. It's about a doctor named Jean who is now angry because of the apathy that she had before society turns into what it turns into. She's frustrated with herself that she didn't fight harder to keep it from happening. The world here has women fitted with a device that only allows them to speak 100 words a day. If they try to speak more, it literally shocks them. Women have been stripped of all rights, and they are part of the Pure movement, where women can be massively penalized for having any kind of premarital sex and have total control. As a doctor, she knows that female babies are going to start growing up with massive deficits, language deficits, because they're not allowed to speak more than 100 words after a certain age where they can control their voices. So she knows that this is going to have massive implications to not only, the horribleness of it to everyone who is currently living through it, but for future generations, women are not going to have, their brains are not going to develop properly because they don't have language skills. So she becomes a part of an underground movement to kill the top guys in the government. Sounds like a plan. It is a good read. It is very infuriating. It is an infuriating story. Like, this is how it happens. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen because people come in with tanks. And no, it's a slow erosion of your rights that everyone just keeps saying, can you believe they're doing this? Can you believe it? And then you just go back to watching TV because you don't know what else to do. And so there's that part of it. But it's also how little the people who do have a voice are able to use it to help them. Like, they don't use their voice even though they know it's wrong. They don't want to rock the boat. There's this generational kind of hand-me-down of apathy. And it's a trait that you end up teaching your kids, because your kids see what you do and they develop your bad habits sometimes. And so Jean has 2 sons and a daughter who are now fully entrenched in this world, and she feels like it's partly her own fault for not fighting to stop it more, fighting for her daughter to not ever have to live in a world like that. Almost more importantly, is not teaching her sons how wrong this is and how not to fall for this BS trap that weak, bullying tyrants try to trap men in to keep them thinking that they're lesser than. It's a bullying kind of tactic that a lot of men fall for. And it's true into real life as well. I know a lot of men who are perfectly pleasant around you, but when they're around other men, it's a very different thing. They turn into something else, and it's this weird peer pressure that they feel. So it's a really good read. If you like The Handmaid's Tale, I highly recommend Vox.